Today we'll be talking about MEMS. MEMS is an acronym for Micro Electromechanical Systems. So this is a new area for our people now. So we'll be talking about how we are going to develop a small elements. So using the different technologies, including computer science, electrical, electronics, and mechanical engineering. So this in every walk of life will be having somebody who can contribute for this particular field or the domain. It's called as micro electromechanical systems, and some people also call this as a micro systems. So this is the one. Let's see the PPT now. So this is what is the presentation we'll be having. So this session contains these many parts. First of all, let us understand what is MEMS and its core elements of MEMS. Applications. So normally we talk about size does matter. So everybody is fascinated about sizes, and it's a micro system. Micro means the size is be 10 to the power of -6 meters, and not only that, it's going to be an intelligence. We are adding intelligence to the micro systems, and we call them as intelligent micro systems. And also we have to have understanding of what is role of microelectronics and how it's different from micro systems. So we'll compare those two. And as I already mentioned, it's a multidisciplinary nature. So in both systems, design and development and modeling. And in fact, other one is a manufacturing. So we'll also have a little examples in order to have a proper understanding of how best we can able to understand these things. So seeing is believing. So we'll be having some examples too. And applications in various areas. And now let's look into the MEMS. What are MEMS? How are we going to classify it MEMS? And what is it all about? So MEMS, we have some 5 points kind of thing, and we talk about it. MEMS are generally called as integrated micro devices or the systems. They combine electrical and mechanical components and are fabricated using integrated circuit technology, where we just make the electronic component circuits, etc. So the size range varies from micrometers to millimeters. That means very small. And these elements also can see, control, and automate the systems with whom we'll be correcting it. And this is basically revolutionizing the traditional mechanical engineering into high-tech mechanical engineering. So I'm just biased towards only mechanical engineering, but everybody can make their branch of engineering or study into high-tech. So next logical step in the silicon revolution. The MEMS is a next logical step in the silicon revolution. So it was estimated way back in 2000 that it was having a 10 billion market, and anticipated by 2015 it's going to be $80 billion market, but it already surpassed those two figures. And as it is, it's going to be fascinating and amazing. So now let us see what is it so consists of. So basically we'll be having two principal components. One is we have to sense what is happening around, so it has to be a sensing device. Other one is after sensing, what is the meaning, why we will be having it. That is for executing, that you have to transduce it and actuate ultimately. So basically we'll be having some components. So like this, a sensing or actuating element and a signal transduction unit. These are the two components normally we'll be having in the system. So examples are MEMS as a microsensor, MEMS as a micro actuator. So now let us look at the microsensor, what it all composes of. So one is the one component in that, in the block diagram, of course, what is there in the transduction unit, we'll separately discuss about it. So now any item or any gadget to work, it needs power supply. So a microsensor definitely needs power supply for its operation. So how small it is? It's a micro level only. Power supply is very small power we need to have. And now look at the diagram. So transduction unit and microsensing element. Microsensing element like your skin, when you touch it, you sense, okay, it's a hot or cold or whatever. So that must be transmitted to the transduction unit. There the processing happens and goes to the next as an input signal to the next unit where we need to actuate or trigger the action. So that is the uh, meaning of the sensing device. So the sensor senses the signal and transforms it into the input signal to the one which really triggers the action. The one which triggers the action is also called as, again, it's small in size and it's called as a micro actuator. So again, micro actuator device 2 will have a transduction unit and a micro actuator element. Then you get the triggering action. That is the output action. So they're all together in block. So now it's a time for us, before getting into, look at the uh, so where are the applications? Now, anything you want to do it. So the motivation is, where do I use this thing and what is the benefit I get it kind of. So let us first examine where in all the fields, various fields, wherein we'll be using this particular technology, MEMS technology. One is optical switching. So in the optical switching, we have got integrated optics and micro optics. And next is the embedded sensors and actuators. In that, we'll be talking about the single most largest application today. And since almost like 20 years now, we're using micro accelerometers to apply the airbags in a car and biomedical devices. So there again, what we call a non-invasive biomedical sensors. So that means will not be piercing through the skin and your veins and putting it. Next is microfluidics. This has a beautiful application. All inkjet printers, catheters are made using this technology. And miniature analytical instruments also. And the other one is chip-based DNA processing and sequencing, and propellant and combustion control in the uh, many places where we use rocket propulsion, etc. And in a nutshell, it's a chemical factory on a chip. So again, continuing with that, uh, now everybody is creating many items and their systems, and they need to have a good space. So how big your data storage device must be, you know. So now, thanks to MEMS devices, so they reduce the size of the storage devices, and you can see terabytes per square centimeter. Now it's further decrease the size. Now we talk about terabytes per millimeter size, and the power consumption also. The display units, especially your mobile resolutions, OLED or OLCD kind of thing. So now they're all reality, and your battery life increases. So micro instruments and micro machines. So why will be needing that micro pumps? So cooling of micro computers, etc. Also will be using micro pumps. And micro robots come in handy. They go discreetly. I can just have the micro robots in a dust, and they can settle there, and they perform the role of a spy, and we'll get the signals what's happening. And maybe there is some danger in the room. I can send some micro robo, and I can have the visualize what is happening inside the room. So all those things can be done. So that's about applications. Now, what is microsystems again? There's a MEMS, we call it a microsystem. And we introduce all these elements, both the actuator and sensor together, we clubbed it, and this appears like this. So we have a signal and transduction unit. So you have these things coming in, and the point. It's okay. No, these are the issues we'll be having, sensor and actuator kind of thing. And we have intelligent microsystems now. So we are introducing intelligence to it. That means a feedback element, and it compares and controls the signal processing unit also comes into picture, then takes the measurement, compare, and all those things, whatever is there. So it will have what is that desired measurement of the functions, and whether the output actions are matching with their desired expectations or not. So this everything clubbed into and a small box, and we put it into and a tiny things. So now let us compare. We know microelectronics. and microsystems now. So what is the difference between these two? Well, let's compare. Microelectronics on one side and towards your left, and these are the things we just talk about. Microelectronics, again, silicon die you use is a single crystal silicon die, and silicon compounds and plastic also will be using it. Transmits electricity and specific electrical functions, and stationary structures. Microelectronics is basically stationary and primarily 2D structures, two-dimensional only, and a complex pattern with high density over substrates. We're just having the layer by layer, we'll be making it, and fewer components in assembly. Very small number of assembly will be having it. And whereas microsystems also silicon based, we'll be talking about now. And now new materials also being emerged. Will some other time we'll talk about it. So now it's a single crystal silicon die, and materials also like GA, arsenum, quartz, polymers, metals will be using it. Uh, yeah, performs a great variety of specific biological, chemical, and optical functions. So each one is having its own critical role in today's functionality, and more so with the COVID-19. Now these are the things which reduces the cost of the equipment and make it manufacturing in the batches is also made possible with this silicon systems. Many involve moving components, whereas microelectronics is stationary, and the MEMS or microsystems are consists of moving components. That's why it's aptly named as micro electromechanical system. Mechanical is a misnomer. There are very small components. They'll be having a movement kind of thing. And since we have, and there are complex 3D structures like a cantilever or trigger devices, simple patterns over substrates. Again, we use the same substrate as that of our electronics. Many components to be assembled. We just use that and we assemble. And again, now coming to this multidisciplinary nature of microsystems, design and manufacturing. So eventually, we design for manufacturing. So mere designing is of no use if we cannot able to manufacture it. So the manufacturing is important, and we, the engineers, have to keep whatever we design that manufacture in mind, how we can able to produce it and make it reachable to the common man. So now, so all starts with the natural science. So we have basically physics, chemistry, and biology, and we divide that into many areas. So example, we have, so like this, we can just have so many electrochemical processes, molecular biology, plasma physics, scanning glass, that's where I just worked in, and quantum physics, molecular physics, and again, another thing comes into electrohydrodynamics. So in that, what are the areas we have? So we'll be having electrical engineering, power supply, electrical circuits for power supply, signal transduction, and again, we talk about moving towards the nanoscale kind of thing, nanoscale structures. And in mechanical engineering, machine components design, mechanisms and linkages, thermomechanics, solid and fluid mechanics, heat transfer, fracture mechanics, intelligent control, microprocessors equipment design and manufacturing, computational mechanics, packaging and assembly design, and also in material engineering. So we have materials for substrates, components, and packages, materials for signal transduction, materials for fabrication process, doping of semiconductor materials in order to obtain specific properties in the materials. And another important branch of engineering, it can take part in chemical engineering. These are the various disciplines we'll be having in order to design and manufacture. Once we design manufacturing, we are also programmable now. Now we have a programmable MEMS too. So we can change the reactions according to our requirement. We can have that programming. So mostly they're all embedded programming. And industrial engineering also comes into picture. So wherein the process design, production control, and micro assembly, assembling. Now, what is that we'll be looking at now? Now, look at that intelligent inertia sensors used in automobile. There's airbag deployment systems. So this is the one small thing. The size is hardly about 2 millimeters. It appears like a big box kind of thing. This is the chip and micro accelerometer. Now you can see there are two directions. Axiometer in the horizontal direction, there's the x-axis, another one is y-axis. So you got two MEMS devices in this analog devices, this particular model. And now this is assembly. So this micro axiometer size is just 3 millimeter by 2 millimeter. This is the total assembly, appears like a suitcase. And now the gears. So our ant, maybe you hardly seldom counted how many legs are there for this ant, and this ant also showing its all teeth. You can even count the number of teeth. So this has been taken picture by accident, not by there's one scientist trimmer is working, and a junior trimmer accidentally touched that, and the picture has come. It's not that somebody is focused and taken it. So this is giving a Vishnu Chakra kind of thing, showing a little finger of Sri Krishna Bhagavan, and that's the size of that. And you can see the so tiny, it's whatever finger it is there. So that's the leg of ant. So you can see the size. So here it's a 100 micrometers. This is the white line. So you can see it is 2 gears. It's a compound gear. A micro motor produced by, it's a total complete motor is produced by this Liga process. You can see this entire line, it shows now, that is 1 millimeter in length. That means in 1 millimeter length, how many components you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different components we could be able to make it and its function. It's a gear wheel, it rotates. And now this is the micro turbine. So white and black patches you can see. So each one is 0.1 millimeter in size. So what is the use of micro turbine? Normally we use to cool maybe computer systems, or wherever the small systems generating a lot of heat, there will be pumping a lot of air or the fluid in the microfluidics mode will be cooling. This is the cooling systems for the turbo cooling in the systems. So now we are talking about MEMS optical switches. The inertia is decreased. Optical switches transmit signals faster. So because of this optical switching, the time taken for transferring the voice packets also decreased. And you can see it's a 1947, a love story kind of thing. It's the computer walkthrough kind of thing. It's a digital computer 1947. You can see so many racks. It's a small room, having almost 1,000 meter cube volume. And you can see the same thing. It's a chip now, miniaturized. So this is a dime. It's almost like a 25 paisa coin size. And you can see the entire features, whatever you could be able to see in the previous slide. So now that entire features, whatever you could be able to see in the previous slide, now this has been put into this small chip. A laptop computer, no need of talking about it now. So now we are having a much smaller than that. We are at a tab now, and your mobile, a smartphone is the one example. And this is a MAR, miniature autonomous robotic vehicle. So this is the small, very small. You can see the eyebrow of the person who is looking at it. That's the size. So it's a robotic vehicle. It can just go. What is the purpose? So this can be deployed in the place where maybe the moon or any other planet. From there, it can able to send you the signals. So if the size is big, we never know. Now, our small example. The small ant, which we have just seen in the previous slides, a small ant, maybe it's in your hand kind of thing. You the sugar, it comes for picking up the sugar candy, the sugar crystals. If you disturb it, then you can blow with your mouth the lot of air kind of thing. Still, you cannot displace it. So whereas if an ant is passing through just like that, and if it without giving a warning to it, and if you blow air, it is displaced. So meaning, or in the hurricane, or you call a tufan kind of thing, the grass is intact, whereas the trees are felled off. So the grass, because of sheer size and flexibility, that retains its shape. whenever that wind comes, it just bends, and when the wind flows off, and it becomes straight. So that's the benefit of having a small size. So that can stay back on the ground firmly, whereas a bigger things are displaced or maybe washed away. So that's the reason why we wanted to have a small gadgets with all the potential of all the big things. What is that we have? Everything we can have in the small gadget. So now look at this. The next to human being, the automobile is the most complex device. So that we have a lot many things. So now we have a capability of this technology of making one real automobile, tiny automobile. You need to have a magnifying glass to see those things, because the size of the car, a full-fledged car, it can drive, it can open the window, it can run the steering, it can have the pedal. All those things have been made, and the manufacturing of this kind of technology is called additive manufacturing. So this is the capability of the technology we are talking about. Look, the car on a football field, again a small 5 cents, is less than the size of 25 paisa coin. And you are driving a car on a national highway. That's a matchstick. Okay. So that's it, my dear, for the time being. So we'll have a break now. చూద్దాం సార్ వచ్చింది అయిందా 10 minutes పైన అయింది కదా ఇట్స్ మోర్ దెన్ 15 minutes. వాజ్ ఇట్ ఓకే? పిల్లలు ఎక్కడ పాఠం కష్టం. We are used to talk to the students large audience. Now we have to see the audible voice and ఏం చేయాలి? సేవ్ అయింది. ఇది రెగ్యులర్ క్లాస్ అయితే నాకు 1 hour పట్టింది
సార్. ఇక్కడ దీంట్లో అది బెనిఫిట్ సార్.
ఇది కొంచెం చెప్పడానికి నాకు కనీసం 1 hour పట్టింది.